Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 12th edition of the Meet Your Delegate calls at MakerDAO. My name's Patrick. I'm one of the GovAlpha team at MakerDAO, and I'll be hosting the call this evening. We're delighted to welcome two new delegate teams to come and chat to us. We've got the London Business School and Blockchain at Columbia. Each team will be given half an hour. They'll present their delegate platforms, and then we'll open the floor to some questions, and we'll see where things take us. This is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube following the conclusion of the event. So please bear that in mind when you're asking questions and giving any answers, and try not to talk over each other, just so that people watching back can see things clearly. So I'm going to hand off to Clemens from London Business School, who's going to talk us through their platform. Thank you, Clemens.
Okay, thanks so much for the introduction, Patrick. So thank you again for the invitation and giving us the platform to introduce our blockchain society at LBS, as well as the broader LBS community. Just to give a brief overview of who we are, what we do, and how we've come about. Around 15 students came together at the beginning of the school year in September, with really one mission in mind, to first of all, make the blockchain technology more accessible to our peers, as well as preparing our peers for the opportunities that we see in Web3. So having started this year, we have been very active. We went from a small number of 15 core members that started this off in September, have grown to a community of around 600 people at LBS that are taking an active interest in blockchain technologies. As well as we have around 30 active members that are really contributing to all our ongoing efforts, events, and research articles. So we are made up of 15 executive members that meet up on a weekly basis to make sure that we're really, sticking to our mission, that we are aligned across our organization. And our organization has so far been made up of 6 different pillars. We have research, trading, partnerships, Web3 labs, as well as events and marketing. So we would meet up on a weekly basis, make sure that we have events lined up, because what we really have realized at the London Business School, this is a community that is traditionally catering towards the consulting and finance industries. So I would say a broad portion of our students end up working here in London or abroad across the strategy consultancies, the investment banks, and boutique hedge funds or other financial institutions, which I think is a quite good starting point if you view blockchain through the financial technology lens. But even though we have this talent that is very deep into finance, I still find that we often have to pick up the students from the ground level. So what we have been doing throughout this year is really starting our Blockchain 101 series, where we really try to introduce, crypto and Web3 to our peers beyond Bitcoin, beyond Ethereum, because that's where I would say for 95% of the students, their knowledge just ends there. And I think it's been quite encouraging to see over the past year, we've been able to host a range of events, as I mentioned, the Blockchain 101 series, as well as our first ever LBS blockchain conference, which we hosted at the end of last month, where we were able to showcase 8 different speaker events with 20 different speakers to more than 250 students. And it was really, really encouraging to us to see, a glow of excitement in the eyes of our students that I think every one of our members has also had when they first, stumbled deep into the rabbit hole of crypto. That being said, I think that the London Business School is generally a very interesting addition to the MakerDAO community, because we are an exclusive postgraduate school. So we don't have any undergraduate degrees, which really puts us in a unique position, because all of our students have at least 1 year of work experience. We have our early career programs, which usually average 1 to 2 years of work experience, all the way up to the executive and Sloan MBA programs, where you really have seasoned industry executives across various industries that have decades worth of experience. So I think that makes classroom participation very interesting, very stimulating. And I think it's also a very good starting point for people to actually take the plunge into Web3 and into crypto, because it is very much a cross-disciplinary field, where you need a base understanding of, technology, financial markets, as well as technology, financial markets, and politics to a certain degree as well. And then, once you go into the weeds of DAOs and NFTs, I think there's so many different nuances that come into play that it really helps to be able to, tap into a talent base that is very diverse in their experiences and in their, especially in their professional careers. So just to recap, we're an active community of 600 members. I have with me here Max as well, who is the current vice president of this year, and he will be leading the club going into the next year, as I will be graduating in 2 months. As well as we have our research team on board, whom I will be introducing, to you shortly, just as soon as Leo joins us. So before our hackathon, or before our conference in April, I got to attend the Harvard Blockchain Conference, as I'm aware that quite a few of you have attended that one as well as the Columbia Lion Hack, which I think was really a great event. So props to Jamin and the entire team at the Columbia Blockchain Club. I think they were also a great inspiration in our setting up the society here. They were a role model in how we wanted to set up our club. And I think they were also one of the biggest motivators to consider making or taking part in these different delegation programs available. So really from day one, this has been our goal to join MakerDAO as a delegate. And unfortunately, we were dealing for the past 6 to 7 months with the red tape here at the university in getting recognized as an actual club with a bank account. So now with that sorted and out of the way, I think we're really set up to be a long-lasting part of the broader LBS community. And going forward, I think we're really looking forward to being able to give our students here, the opportunity to learn Web3 in a very hands-on way by being active in the Maker forum, by participating in a decentralized autonomous organization and actually seeing what it means to be managing, a treasury that's worth hundreds of millions, sometimes even billions worth of dollars, just really through clicks on the computer. I think that's really one of these moments that you don't really truly understand, I think, the power of Web3 until you've really participated in these new forms of organizations. And with that being said, I would like to just put a little spotlight, I guess, on our research team, which I think is ideally positioned to be taking on, the role of the Maker delegation. This is the only team that we have made up of 3 co-heads of research. And they have, I think, ideal backgrounds to be able to provide, I think, the most value possible to MakerDAO. We have Bo, who's unfortunately not able to make this call, who has more than 5 years of experience working at JP Morgan as a portfolio manager. And then we also have Alex, who's been working in the Australian Reserve Bank for a few years doing research there, as well as Leo, who's currently leading the research efforts of the leading Web3 venture capital fund, Fabric Ventures. So without getting too far into that, I'd rather pass it on to Alex as well as Leo to introduce themselves.
Guess I'll go first. Yeah, hi everyone. Really glad to be here. Yeah, like Clement said, I spent the most of my career working in Australian Central Bank. Mostly did economic research there with a focus on financial stability. So cryptocurrencies and blockchains obviously came up there as sort of, I guess, what you call an emergent risk, something that wasn't quite risky enough to focus on yet, but something we were interested in keeping an eye on. So I did a bit of work there, and then, yeah, I decided to come back and do an MBA at LBS, taking on the head of research role. Me, Leo, and Bo have a team of about 8 people, and we generally, I guess our goal is to contribute meaningfully to the research and analytical conversation going on around crypto. So each person that we have in our team sort of tries to come up with a research topic and something they'd like to explore, and then they sort of go from there into preparing like a research article or an analytical piece of some kind. Yeah, I'm finishing my MBA next year, and funnily enough, I'm going on exchange to Columbia in the fall. So yeah, Leo, anything from you?
Thanks for that introduction, Alex. And yeah, I just realized that you're going to Columbia, so there's a lot of synergy in this call. And hi, I'm Leo, as Clemens mentioned. So I'm the head of research alongside Alex and Bo at London Business School. And I'm also working as a research partner at Fabric Ventures. And I'm a first year PhD student at LBS, where my subject area is accounting. And my specialization is in blockchain and cryptocurrency, where I try to actually study the crypto capital markets and how they work. And coming to how we can actually contribute to MakerDAO. So we've actually been like doing our due diligence on how MakerDAO is actually bringing on board real world assets and trying to link the crypto economic ecosystem with real assets, and to ensure that like MakerDAO has stability and so does DAI. And so here, we could be of a lot of help in voting on new proposals, because at LBS, like we have like combined, I think we have thousands of years of experience in different sectors, and there are a lot of people who are actually super interested in blockchain and cryptocurrency, who would be like very willing to contribute their real estate experience, their supply chain financing experience, and all of these experiences to actually gauge like which kind of real world assets should you be onboarding. And similarly for other like key decisions across MakerDAO, I'm pretty sure that we have the like skill sets to be able to contribute. And I can say this because obviously I alone don't have the necessary skill set, but us combined as a school, we will definitely be able to find a way to contribute meaningfully to all of these proposals. And so that is our idea moving forward. We want to like be very helpful in the proposal process. Like even though we're only going to be starting with a small amount of maker and not as much like decisive power in proportion to our shareholding, but what we can offer is valuable insight on the different projects. And yeah, so that's the idea. And also like we want to like integrate the research function at the LBS Blockchain Association with like MakerDAO, and actually go deeper into all kinds of research with you guys. And yeah, I usually tend to get too excited and talk for too long if I talk about research. So yeah, I'm going to pass it off now. But yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys. So this was pretty much, just a brief overview of our society and of our research team that will be taking on the delegation. So I'd love to hear any questions that you guys have.
Thank you, Clemens, Alex, and Leo for that presentation. Yeah, I'll open to the floor if anyone's got any questions. Alternatively, I've got a question that I was wanting to ask. So I asked this of our last university blockchain club that came to see us, and I'm going to ask it of both clubs today. I'm quite interested in the decision-making process within the delegate group. So for instance, if you're voting on a proposal at MakerDAO, how does your club come to that kind of decision on which way you're going to vote? Is it a democratic process where all 600 members will have one vote and that will be the outcome? Or do the executive committee of 15, are they the ones that are making the decisions on what will actually impact Maker on a kind of week-to-week basis?
I can take that question. So we have a group of 6 people. So that's going to be the President Clemens, Vice President Max, the 3 heads of research, alongside Carlos, who is managing our treasury. So we are going to actually be the representative delegate who is voting on the proposals. But like depending from proposal to proposal, we'll be seeking guidance from experts in the field. And I mean, I'm sure that like there will be a lot of proposals that are going to be outside of our bandwidth. So we do not want to have like 600 people voting onto a proposal, because otherwise it just does not like there is too many different kinds of voices in the picture, and we want to have we want to be able to offer more specialized support to the proposal process, and that's the idea behind our voting process.
That's great. Thanks very much. Peyton?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks. Really excited to have you guys on here. So I was wondering if you would be willing to take a moment to talk about kind of the top point for your delegate platform. You said bringing the entrepreneurial perspective to the Maker protocol. I was curious if you would take a few moments just to say like what that looks like from you and what some areas you think we could engage in better with regards to that.
I guess regarding the entrepreneurial spirit at LBS, I think it's great to see really that, as a business school, what LBS really accelerates at is giving people a platform. So there's really a lot of programs at LBS that really cater towards this demographic. So we have, for example, a class called New Ventures Development, where you develop a venture over 10 weeks, presented to a crowd of LBS investors. And you generally have a student body that's quite seasoned across different industries that's specifically coming to LBS to launch their next venture. So I think having seen also how other universities operate, how the student bodies of different universities are made up of, I think having this entrepreneurial aspect and perspective really puts different ideas or helps give you a different perspective on certain topics, especially once you go very research heavy. I think a lot of researchers tend to get lost within the small little details, technicalities, and they tend to obsess over some technical solutions and problems. Something that I've especially seen as I was attending the hackathon at LBS, and then 1 month later I was at the hackathon at Columbia, which was almost exclusively computer science students. So I think there is that healthy balance that we can provide through our entrepreneurial community to very research and detailed oriented questions.
Right on, thank you. Because kind of what came to my mind was kind of interesting is our core unit operating model, right? Our basic model for funding units, funding teams within the DAO ends up being very entrepreneurial, right? You can propose anything you want, and MKR holders just have to approve it. So I don't know. I definitely see a lot of potential for bringing that mindset and helping us shape our core unit process.
We're definitely looking forward to especially that process, and I think that's one of the first items that we're going to have to work on, is to make this process, this opportunity actually more visible, right? Because I think this is a very exciting aspect of the entire maker ecosystem that is still quite hidden, I guess, among the forum. And that's also, I guess, one of the main purposes of this club, is just to draw a path where there's none. Because a lot of these students, like I said, they're used to structure. They're used to knowing, if I go into consulting, this is my career in 2 years, 4 years, and 5 years, right? Same thing for finance. I think this is something that we need to work towards in crypto. And I think especially MakerDAO being around for so long already is in the ideal position to have really the knowledge and expertise to help us shape this path. I think what we really want to work on with you as well, beyond the delegation, is to find a realistic and meaningful way in how to integrate new talent into this ecosystem and pretty much create a talent funnel for MakerDAO, but also for other Web3 companies.
Does anyone else have any questions they want to ask? Otherwise, I will keep going. I will fill the silence. Okay, so I mean, Leo made a reference during his presentation about the club not owning much MKR themselves. Is that due to the university regulations? And does the club own MKR that they're planning to delegate to themselves?
So just to come back to this, like as I mentioned, from day one, it was our goal to become a delegate, especially to work with A16Z with their delegate program. And we've actually been in touch with Porter Smith since October onwards. We've had literally the contract, the delegation contract, in our email since October. We weren't able to actually execute on that because we were waiting on receiving the society status from university, receiving the bank account, and now with that all being sorted, I think the next step should be to actually formalize this contract, and we will be receiving then the delegate tokens from Andreessen.
Okay, but the club itself as an entity doesn't own any MKR. It will be
At the moment, no.
All external. That's fine.
Guess I could ask some fun philosophy questions. So a big debate as always for makers is this kind of a trade-off between like preparing for growth, right, and distributing back to token holders. So I was wondering kind of where you as an organization felt on that timeline of like, all right, should we be prioritizing growth, or returning value to MKR holders.
Maybe before passing on, I think to the experts on the call, actually, the ones that will be overseeing this this delegation, I think it's worthy to note that it seems like MakerDAO has made the right choice in choosing stability over rapid growth, especially with the recent Terra Luna debacle. It really shows that it did pay off to choose, although you guys were an algorithmic stablecoin, which by definition is already super risky. It does seem that you have made the right trade-off between growth and stability.
I just wanted to add to that. I've been very passionately following the aggressive growth strategy that you guys have put together in place at Maker. And yeah, so Luca is actually, Luca Prosperi, he's also an LBS graduate, and that's why we're also in touch. And so he told me about like how you see growth moving forward and how you're actually increasing your surplus buffer to be able to make riskier bets, which makes a lot of sense. Like that proposal and the path that you have proposed, I think that is the best way moving forward. To be honest, like when there is like explosive growth while keeping the shareholders' interest in mind, in the sense that while protecting the ecosystem from bursting, I think that is the best way to actually indirectly return a payout to the investors. So I'd say that definitely like that aggressive growth strategy, increasing the capital surplus buffer, being able to invest in more riskier projects, I think that is the best way to go. And that is a brilliant strategy that has been outlined already. So yeah, I might be a little biased because Luca is a close friend, and also because like I've been looking into it at depth, but I definitely think that that is the right way to go.
Thank you for that answer. I feel duty bound as a GovAlpha member to point out that strategy hasn't yet been approved by Maker governance, but I guess that gives us an indication about which way as a delegate you might vote if it came up to a vote. So that's still quite an interesting insight. Thank you. So I guess then one of the other big topics of discussion that we have at Maker is kind of the burn mechanism. So I guess that kind of ties in what you've been discussing with the growth strategy. Kind of as delegates, do you come down on the growth only side of the fence, or do you have some kind of some sympathy to the viewpoint where we should burn a little bit as we go along to kind of keep that ball rolling, as it were?
Yeah, so honestly, I think that I can't speak for the entire school, but I think the strategy would be to stop burning for a while to be able to have a big surplus buffer. Now we've seen currency issuers explode over the last few days just because like they were not able to create reserves necessary to be able to sustain their explosive growth. So I really think that like increasing the surplus buffer by halting the burning for a bit, and actually so I think that might be the best way to go. And it will also mimic the banking system in the sense that banks usually keep 10 to 15% of the currency that they've issued, like that total currency, as a surplus buffer, so that they can prevent this problem from taking place. Now, I know that DeFi is completely different, but I'm sure that we still have a lot to learn from traditional finance as well. So that's why I would really encourage, halting burning for a while and not like actually increasing it. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, I think we've maybe got about 5 minutes left. So if anyone on the floor has got any questions, I'd be happy to hear them.
All right, I lost the silence chicken game, Patrick. All right, so kind of want to ask about delegate compensation. I guess kind of the foundational question being, are you aware of Maker's recognized delegate compensation structure? Doesn't really matter if that's a yes or a no, but we'll shape the other questions.
I'm not fully aware of that program, no. I don't know if Leo, you are maybe, or Alex.
No,
No.
Okay, awesome. That's cool. Because I think it does offer like a great incentive to get involved, but it's like even cooler that you'd want to get involved not knowing about it. So then might pivot a little bit and ask like more generally, more broadly, if the group does have views on delegate compensation, not just for Maker, but ecosystem wise, like, what are some good values that we should be looking for as we continue to iterate on our structure.
That sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. We honestly were not aware of any compensation, but yeah, that's great to have added incentive as a club, even though we were not really looking for it. But thank you.
I think for us, it's going to be really just a really great experience to really get this hands-on experience and really, I guess, see from a day-to-day perspective of how these organizations work, because I think I share the sentiment of a lot of people in our society here that we definitely see blockchain mainly as well as a governance technology, and really seeing a DAO in action of the size that you have, I think is going to be really inspiring for our members. As well as it's going to be quite inspiring for our process, where we are currently setting up our own DAO for the Blockchain Society, and currently also trying to find the right mechanisms and incentives to actually make it work.
That's very cool. Would definitely love if you need to collaborate or discuss governance things for your DAO setup. Always down.
Awesome.
If you could send us the details of that after this, that'd be great.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll get that organized. Okay, so we're getting close to the end now. Just kind of one more question from me, if there's no one else wanting to ask them. And again, I've asked this question before from the university delegates. So are you planning to operate year-round a delegate service, or does things shut down kind of during the academic holidays? Are we going to have you full-time is kind of what I'm asking.
So that's why I think it's great to have the setup that we currently have on this call, as I will be going out of this community in 2 months, but I will still stay very actively involved. I guess from behind the scenes, we do have the other 3 people on the call will be part of the new leadership, as well as part of the research team going forward. So there is that continuity to bridge it over to the summer. There will definitely be a slowdown just because we will not have the capacity or manpower that we usually do during the year.
I can add to that though. So I'm a PhD student who's here for 4 more years, and I don't really get holidays. So yeah, I can make sure that there's no slowdown.
Okay, thank you guys. I think if we haven't got any further questions in the room, we'll give it 30 seconds or so. We'll move on to the next group of delegates.
Okay, thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey, not sure if I should be asking a question. This is Frank from 3F delegate myself. One of the biggest components of being a delegate, well, actually I should say running a DAO, decentralized organization, and growing it is obviously having key governance areas, right? Such as the governance structure. I'm a big believer in risk management and also asset curation. So I was wondering how you guys, what kind of governance tools are you guys using? Are you using quantitative tools that's going to help you determine what any of the stability fees should be for the collateral types in the Maker protocol? Can you give me an example of what you guys have done in the past, maybe for Compound or Uniswap? I'm just calling names out. So kind of want to get an idea of your experience as to how you approach that. Is it quantitative? What kind of tools are you guys using to determine the direction of any protocol?
So as I mentioned, as this is our first year and we just set up in September, we have not had the chance yet to become a delegate in any other protocol so far. So for everyone in our association, this will be our first delegate experience.
But just to quickly add, so Bo, who unfortunately was not able to join us at the moment, so he heads Arc Street Capital, which is actually a DAO portfolio management tool. And so he has 4 years of experience in JP Morgan digital assets, heading the Onyx team. And then, yeah, so he's a big believer in quantitative risk management, and he's going to be helping us set up the risk management that you were talking about.
Yeah, I guess as a general principle, we'd be looking to use quantitative tools. Like, I think we want to be as data-driven as possible. I mean, across the society as a broad philosophy that we all.
Yeah, got it. Sorry, I joined a little late, so maybe I missed that part. And I guess internally, on an individual basis, and this is just an opinion from you guys, what's the outlook of crypto as an overall or decentralized finance? Where do you guys think MakerDAO should be betting on? Like, what do you see as the future? Is it NFTs? Is it more decentralized finance platforms? Is it getting the institutional players on board? Like, what's your philosophy behind that as we head into probably crypto winter and hopefully a bounce back to the positive sum of this game?
I mean,
I can answer that question. Do you want to go ahead, Clement?
No, you can go first.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, okay, that's a really big question that you got there, but let me break it down in parts. So, I mean, like, we're already seeing crypto winter beginning with Financial Times and others actually sending out news articles about crypto dying, and I see where you're coming from. So us as a club, we truly believe that like digital assets are the future, and blockchain is basically the technology that enforces those digital assets, right? So when it comes to MakerDAO, we perceive MakerDAO to be like somewhat of a central bank like figure in decentralized finance. How we perceive it is basically looking at it from a currency issuer perspective, but also looking at it from a lender perspective. And yeah, so we actually see it as a bank, right? Like a decentralized bank. But yeah, so that's how our perception is about the crypto ecosystem. Now, we think that each of the things that are around till now, whether it be a DAO, whether it be an NFT, whether it be tokens, everything here is here to stay. So for example, like non-fungible tokens actually give us the means to like have ownership to digital assets. Like for example, now art, like digital art has the same properties as real art. And like that is one of the focus areas of my research and actually trying to evaluate digital art. But now we can actually see comparisons between digital art and real art, right? So similarly, what I think moving forward, each part of the ecosystem that is here right now, it's here to stay. And crypto winter is coming, but like honestly, like all of us, like we're long-term investors in crypto, we're long-term believers, and we are here because we think that cryptocurrencies and digital assets are going to be the future. And that's because like we don't believe in having centralized intermediaries to form connections between us. We believe in being able to form direct connections ourselves and being able to, like, for example, even if you look at it within a DAO, what happens, like we believe in actually being being involved in like every voting process that's happening within the organization. So yeah, as mentioned in the comments, like spring is always coming since it's winter. But yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that in the chat.
Yeah, totally agree. I guess it's also just important to separate like uptake and use case from where the price direction of things are going. Like MakerDAO and DeFi in general has a really good use case in that it sort of sits in between two parties that want to make a transaction, which normally would be there'd be profit-driven centralized authorities sitting in between them, like a bank or a payment operator. And DeFi has the ability to remove the rent that those institutions take away from any transaction. So I guess in terms of the crypto winner, sure, if you're a holder, you're probably not having a great time. But at the same time, like use case is only going to get better from here. And I think MakerDAO especially has such a bright future in that sense.
just to wrap this up, and I think broadly, my colleagues have touched on all the most important points. I always try to emphasize to everyone that enters this society that has maybe too big of a focus on the price action, that there's a very big distinction between, I would say, the casino that's happening right now with the prices and the underlying technology. And I would say that we are at the society, we are definitely focusing on the underlying technology and are not too much concerned with the ups and downs, I guess, of the market.
Thank you, Clemens. I think that's a really good place to end things there. But I'd like to thank all of you from the London Business School for that presentation and Q&A there. We're now going to move on to the blockchain at Columbia, who are going to talk to us and present their platform and then answer some questions. I know we've got Jam in here from Columbia. Noel, by any chance, are you also from blockchain at Columbia?
I am.
I'll hand over to yourself then.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, great job to the London Business School guys. It's great to hear from Clemens again. But yeah, my name's Noel Turlington, or Crypto Lafayette. I guess we both kind of dox ourselves here. I'm a rising senior at Columbia, and I run our DeFi governance arm. And I've kind of been involved in the space since roughly 2017. And I got involved with blockchain in Columbia last year.
Yeah, I'll quickly introduce myself as well. My name is Jamin, as you can see from the Zoom name, but my forum handle is JF123, and Discord is Jam #7798. I'm a rising junior, and I'm an InfoSci and econ major. I've had crypto experience in the past, but mainly through research roles and stuff. And I've been in this space for a year, but I think I can confidently say that it's kind of like an addiction, like you just you fall down the rabbit holes and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll get into a little history of blockchain in Columbia as an organization. So we started in 2017. Roughly around the top of that cycle, and there was a lot of attention, attraction, excitement around the club. But as you guys know, there was a subsequent crypto winter that followed, and so I guess interest and attendance kind of fell down. And over the past couple of years, the club has really started to grow and develop and become more established as a student organization at Columbia. And currently numbers, they mean different things to different people. And there's a saying that one good engineer can make up for 1,000. But in terms of our Discord, we have roughly 300 members, our Telegram around 150. And then I'd say active members that go to the revolving meetings and events that we have, it's probably 40 to 50, depending on the event, the speaker, etc. So yeah, on an annual basis, we have two really big events that we hold. One is a speaker conference called Ledger Fest, and we try to hold that in the fall, roughly around October. And last year we had to do it over Zoom because of the current COVID situation, but we're planning to have it in person this year. And we like to use that conference, one, as an opportunity for students to, I guess, learn from different industry leaders, and also get some more one-on-one interaction. But we like to keep it to the Columbia community, or the broader New York community. And then we see the conference, one, as an opportunity for education, but also a recruiting opportunity for our speakers and sponsors representing their different teams, protocols, to potentially hire or look at hiring some of our talent pool at Blockchain in Columbia. So that's our big event in the fall. And then we have a hackathon in the spring called Lion Hack. And we try to keep that more to the undergraduate demographics. We're not opposed to other people, but we had roughly 18 different schools come from across the United States and Canada. And it was a weekend long hackathon, and we really tried to market it not only as an opportunity to learn, build something cool, but also as an experience to interact with a lot of the other exciting students building in Web3. And then on a weekly, I guess, monthly basis, every week we have 2 research groups, Monday and Friday. So previously, the Monday meeting was led by Professor Tim Roughgarden, but he's taking a leave of absence to run Andreessen Horowitz crypto research arm. So we'll have to have someone step in on the Monday meeting. And then on Fridays, we have a current student who helped build the ZK game Dark Forest, and he leads that Friday meeting. But we also, as I mentioned, we try to be education focused. And what we'll do is we'll bring in exciting speakers from different projects that we're excited about, and or funds, for example, and they can come talk about what they do and present to the club. And then we'll also have technical workshops during the week. We try to have the 2 reading groups and then at least one speaker or workshop per week. And then, like I said, we're also a student organization, and we think it's important to kind of collaborate and become a community beyond just our meetings and workshops, etc. So we'll also have once a month or occasionally twice a month, we'll have, I guess, like club gatherings and socials and that type of thing as well. And yeah, so that's a little bit about the club. I would say our demographics were principally CS majors or engineers. We have some people that are a little more research focused. We are slightly lacking on the finance department, but we're trying to increase that a little bit this coming fall. And we do have our occasional degens as well. But yeah, those are the club demographics. And as I mentioned, I run our governance arm. So in the past, Columbia blockchain, we currently have delegation in Uniswap, DYDX, and Compound. And that was typically run by just 2 or 3 students. And we're really trying to grow our governance department. One, we really think that governance is kind of a slept on opportunity for, I guess, students that maybe are perhaps lacking in experience or expertise or capital to really learn more about what's going on in these different DAOs. And then like it's all experimentation, and the best way to learn, I believe, is trial by fire. And the governance forums, that's really what's going on, is we're trying to work towards specific goals as a decentralized autonomous organization. But yeah, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to expand our governance arm and use it as an education opportunity. Specifically, I know Patrick, he asked if we use it as like a DAO or more of an executive committee. And the way Columbia blockchain approaches it is more of an executive committee. So how it works is each specific protocol will have a protocol lead. Jamin is the current Maker protocol lead. And then I oversee all our different protocols. Besides Maker, we're trying to onboard Optimism, Element, and potentially HopDAO as well in the coming weeks this summer. But yeah, so it's and Aave, excuse me. And it's an executive team of 10 members, where each specific member, a few have two members, but they're the protocol lead, and they should be an expert on, for example, Maker, everything Maker. And my role is kind of organizing, make sure everyone's voting on their stuff. And for example, for example, Uniswap, typically there are fewer proposals, and there's kind of a broader time frame for when those can be voted on. In relation to Compound or DYDX, they've been having more proposals, and so it can be more of an extensive role. But like I said, we're also trying to use governance as a mentor-mentee system. So in the fall, we're expecting to have an inflow of new students who are interested in Web3. And we're going to onboard 10 more members to governance, one for each protocol. And for example, Jamin, he'll be mentoring a new student. And it's common to say that the best way of showing proficiency in a field is to teach it to someone else, to relay that knowledge. And also as a university, talent or people are constantly going in and out as people graduate and move on to other things. And so we want to continue to pass on that knowledge and expertise about how governance works with Maker and our other protocols. But yeah, that's kind of a small breakdown on blockchain in Colombia and how our governance works. I may have missed some things, but I'm gonna let Jamin say a little more, and then we can go into some questions that you guys may have.
Yeah, so I just want to quickly clarify that we're not officially like a Maker delegate yet. Our club currently doesn't have any Maker. I think like we probably have like small bags around the individual members, but you know, not too much. And the reason I think that I wanted to pick Maker for the governance is because I think that there's a reason that the protocol has lasted for so long. And I think that part of that reason is the community and how you guys basically, you know, vote on changes in the trends in this space. And I think that that's what makes Maker a lot more relevant. And I think obviously there is a need, like there's like stable coins are necessary in this space. And I think that decentralized stable coins for sure. And Maker's probably, I'd say, like first in the race for that. So yeah.
That was really interesting, guys. Thanks for that presentation. If it's okay with you, I will open it up to the floor for any questions if anyone has anything they want to ask.
I'll follow up again with the kind of compensation line of questions. You guys might have been around it to hear it on the previous half.
Yeah,
go for it.
that we were both on the call and overheard the question. So we aren't familiar with the specifics of how the compensation works with Maker delegation. We know it's there, and how we plan on using compensation, because we're trying to onboard Element as well, and there should be compensation there, is those funds will go to the DeFi governance arm, and we'll use those funds for I guess, kind of like specific to the governance team in terms of like happy hour or discussions or dinners in that type of way, because we really want to have the governance team being kind of like premier section of our organization. And that's how we were planning on using some of the funds. But I was listening to the HASU call as well, and he made a really good point that compensation, it really does a good job of incentivizing the delegates to really play an active role. And I know some forums, people vote more often than others. I would say Maker is one of the stronger performing DAOs in terms of like things are getting proposed and there's lots of good discussion. I was actually amazed. I've put like the delegate application for some of our other DAOs that we're trying to onboard, and we definitely got the most like responses and communication from Maker. For example, Optimism and Element, the dialogue has just been a little quieter. One thing that I forgot to mention, so how there was a question earlier about like a quantitative approach or that type of thing. We are relatively new in building out our governance arm, but typically what we do is the protocol leads will have like a Telegram group chat with teams that are doing proposals. For example, I'm thinking of Compound and DYDX, and we have a group that's, for example, Gauntlet does a lot of the risk management for Compound. And we have, if there are questions about a specific proposal that they might have, we'll discuss with Compound. We have one with Aztec as well. And we have one with the DYDX team. So that allows our protocol lead, if there's some uncertainty about the proposal, they can ask specifically to get a little more clarification.
Awesome, thank you. I guess more philosophically, like right now, so Maker has compensation in DAI for delegates, right? Like it is tied to your delegate performance. So there are like a number of positives there. But we don't have compensation in our governance token, which from like a governance point of view, yeah, I don't know. It could be good, it could be bad, but one objective downside is that it means that you're less tied to the results of your decisions, right? So yeah, I was kind of curious if you've thought about like how delegate compensation like ideally should work within the ecosystem rather than just like specifics.
I'm less certain on that. I think it would be kind of cool to have a combination of DAI and Maker, and this is me just talking off the top of my head. I mean, Maker, it's a pillar of DeFi, and its strength and longevity that really speaks to what the Maker community has done. I think a combination of both could be good in the sense that when you have it in DAI, if the group wanted to liquidate some of that to use for personal reasons or whatever, it would feel much easier liquidating DAI, I think, than liquidating Maker itself. And also the combination, I think typically it would allow people to think more longer term. And I think that's something that Maker really focuses on, is thinking on longer horizons. But Jamin, is there anything you would like to add there?
Yeah. I agree. If I think like a system between DAI and Maker would be good. But I want to kind of add that I think a system like having like a vesting system with the Maker allocation would be good too. I forgot which proposal it was, but I think it was for one of the core units budgets. I think like something like that would align interests better if that's what you're worried about.
Hey, it's Frank again from 3F delegate myself. And as a delegate, and I'm pretty sure you guys know if you're in Uniswap, you go through a lot of drama, criticism, trolling, which is fun. I enjoy it actually. So I was wondering, with your Uniswap experience, if you guys had any experience with what happened with I think it was Harbor Law that proposed something about a political defense fund for Uniswap, and how you guys navigated through all that mumbo jumbo stuff that happened there. I think it was back in May of last year, actually. It was a 1-year anniversary. So yeah, just kind of give us an idea how you deal with the forum noise and how you kill that noise to make sure you govern correctly.
I will say that was actually before both of our times at Blockchain at Columbia. I'm familiar with what you're referencing. I don't know how the club voted specifically, but yeah, there definitely was a lot of drama around that specific proposal. I think it's related to the DeFi education fund or something like that. And I remember it getting a lot of public backlash. And then there was some backlash recently as well. It recently, as in the past like 6 months or something like that, I think Kobe, he kind of like brought it to the public forums and Twitter, and that's where it definitely got a lot of reaction. I mean, legal stuff, it's definitely very complicated, and the fact that you guys are on this call right now, it shows that like very, very serious about what goes on. The tough thing about working in DAOs is like there can be some members that are like to voice their opinions, but maybe aren't as knowledgeable or don't contribute or that type of things. And that's just, I think, part of how things work. But yeah, that was both before our time.
Yeah, just to kind of add on to that, like for me personally, I'd say that taking up this role is like obviously like a big responsibility. And I think that even if there is a lot of noise or a lot of like backlash against us or whatever, I think that the best way to kind of resolve that is to like work past it and find a solution, but not to like just, leave, right? And I also think that like even if there is noise from the forums, it's I think like as a delegate, like at least one of my responsibilities is kind of connect the normal like maker holders with the core units and with the governance side of it. And I think that that's a problem that maker is dealing with right now, especially in terms of like voter apathy. And yeah, like I think even if there is noise, I think I guess taking those opinions and trying to kind of like dissect and inform people on it is the better way to go.
But before I answer Peyton's question as well, so how we approach our discussion in governance is we have like the specific representation of blockchain in Colombia, but we view it as a voice for our protocol leads and a way for them to make a name for themselves in their specific communities that they work in. And so we'll be sure to like credit the specific handle of the protocol lead and the team that is drafting some of that discussion. And then also when we vote on a proposal, we will put out a tweet thread. Usually it can be quite short, especially if something is relatively in consensus. But for example, there was a vote on Compound a few weeks ago or a month ago, where they were trying to eliminate their, I guess, comp reward structure, and it was highly debated, and that's where we might put out a longer thread kind of explaining our position on how we'll vote on something. But here, I don't want to take away from Peyton's question.
No, feel free to wax as much as you want. I kind of wanted to put you on the spot, so it's okay if you don't have a response. But in your platform, you do mention that the group would be open to crafting proposals, which I think is awesome. And I was curious if there was a particular area or theme or you know, basically a topic that you thought you might be looking to address.
Yeah, I think one of the main things right now that I've been seeing, at least on I think the confessional side of it, is that I think a lot of people are unhappy with the governance, and I know there's a disconnect between like the normal holders and the core units and stuff like that. And obviously, like I don't have a solution or like a fleshed out solution right now, but I think that that's something that needs to be, I guess, worked on before introducing like other areas of growth, because I think like the foundation needs to be a lot more secure for sure.
Yeah, I would say Jamin probably has a little better response than I do. But listening to Hasu's talk, he mentioned potentially focusing a little more on growth or like maximizing for maker holders, but doing that on longer time horizons, and on kind of like a generalist perspective, I think that's a pretty good approach. And like Clemens mentioned earlier, as we all know, there was a lot of instability, specifically around stable coins. And I mean, we're Maker as a over collateralized stablecoin option with DAI. I mean, it really shows the strength that the Maker has.
Awesome, thanks.
Just to, I guess, quickly point something out, like although I am the protocol lead for Maker, it's not going to be like just me. Obviously, Noah's here as the head of the governance team, but we also have other members of governance. And, you know, recently you guys are trying to onboard Faye, and then we also have someone that's delegated to Faye. So I think there's a lot of communication, a lot of overlap between the different protocols. And so it's not going to be, I guess, just me that's handling everything, although I'm going to be the main person. I think that there's a lot more discussion that's going on.
Again, I would like to echo, we really appreciated kind of the I guess like Maker community response when we put up our proposal, and kind of the feedback that we got to try to onboard for delegation. And one, I guess, like question that we kind of had after our community call, we've gone through those steps, and I believe we have three other steps. Like Jamin mentioned, we don't have any Maker currently, but we're in communication with a few funds, A16Z and Jump, to delegate to us. But if you guys had any kind of like next steps or advice, that we would love to kind of hear that on this call as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next step would be to get you set up as a live kind of recognized delegate on our voting portal. So if you haven't seen that, it basically lists all of the delegates with kind of their delegate platforms, and allows people who've connected with a Web3 wallet to delegate to them. So that will be the next step. So over the next 24, 48 hours, I'll be reaching out to you to kind of get your profile organized and get that sorted. Once that's live, then anyone is free to delegate to you. And equally, you can delegate to yourselves if you wanted to. Members of the club could delegate, but yeah, that'll be the next step. So I'll get in touch with you in the next day or so.
Okay, thank you.
I think oh, sorry, Peyton, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was just going to say, and on our end, we're happy to reach out to any of our contacts and let them know that you're looking for delegation to have talks, that sort of thing. So we'll be on you to schedule those, but we can at least let them know that you're interested, and hopefully that'll help you in terms of actually trying to gain MKR to delegate it to you.
Yeah, we would love some intros or that type of thing. Maybe we should. I think a lot of it'll depend on how much we get delegated from those two funds before as well. But yeah, we would love some of those intros or that type of thing. Also, I know the Harvard blockchain conference got mentioned a lot. I lost my Maker logo, but this was my Maker cup I got from the Harvard merch desk. So I've been using it a lot. Yeah, also we would love to potentially work with Maker in some shape or form for our speaker conference in the fall.
Yeah, also a recommendation that I gave, speaking of the Harvard blockchain conference, I was there and I met the Penn blockchain folks, and I helped them, kind of gave them a push. And I told them, even if you have 0.1, which is what, $150 these days of MKR, you can get your platform going. You can actually, get on chain, hit some votes, put some reviews up on the platform, even put some of those comments on chain, right? And that'll help you get recognition, right? It's kind of like starting a Twitter account, right? You want to make a little bit of noise, even though you only got 2 followers. And then eventually, hopefully that builds up. So yeah, even if you guys can get, $150, I don't know, borrow it from Avi, don't do that. But you know what I mean? Just to get yourself on chain, that works. So yeah, man, good luck. And looking forward to seeing you guys on all the delegate debates and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
I think we've now kind of come up against our half-an-hour limit here, but I think that was a really interesting discussion. And thank you guys, Noel and Jamin, for coming along. This will be going up on YouTube in the next day or so you can share that with your club members. You can share it on your social media accounts. And yeah, feel free to reach out to us, myself and Peyton from the Go Alpha core unit, if you have any questions, and I'll be reaching out to you in the next day or so.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to our proposal.